Poland's most famous son is finally going home. His self-imposed exile is over. It has been almost 20 years. He was 39 years old. At the height of his career, Frédéric Chopin was the toast of Europe and the darling of Parisian society. The nobility and aristocracy courted him. Composers recognized his genius. Women adored him. Yet no one could claim his restless spirit, except his native Poland. His music is the poetry of his people, inspired by their traditional music, the national and popular songs and dances of Poland. To know Poland is to know Chopin. A poetic music that touches us all, whose form is organic and which awakens all our senses. Chopin's story begins in 1802, here in Żelazowa Wola, where you are today. In Chopin's time, the estate of Żelazowa Wola looked very different from how it looks now. Here, the ties of friendship between two families would hold a special place in the composer's heart. The estate was owned by the aristocratic Skarbek family. Countess Ludwika Skarbek needed someone to help educate her 4 children. On the recommendation of friends, she employed a family tutor, Mikołaj Chopin. This was Frédéric Chopin's father. Born in France, he emigrated to Poland when he was just 16. His knowledge of French was his passport to a successful career as a teacher. It was while he was living in Żelazowa Wola that Mikołaj met his future wife, Justyna Krzyżanowska. She helped run the Skarbek's busy household. With the Countess's approval, Mikołaj began courting Justyna. In 1806, at the age of 35, Mikołaj married 24-year-old Justyna at the Paris Church of St. Roch in Brochów. A year later, in Warsaw, they had their first child, Ludwika. We are not sure exactly when their second child, Frédéric Chopin, was born. According to church documents, Chopin was born in Żelazowa Wola on the 22nd of February 1810. But Frédéric and his family said he was born on the 1st of March. Records show that he was baptized at Brochów Church on the 23rd of April 1810. On the 1st of October, that same year, Mikołaj accepted the post of French language and literature teacher at the Warsaw Lyceum, and the family moved to the capital. The Chopin family remained good friends with the Skarbeks, and often visited Żelazowa Wola during the holidays. The respect and love Chopin found here as a boy stayed with him for the rest of his life. Although Poland was under Russian rule, its capital was well known for the high level of its culture. The Chopin family moved into an apartment at 411 Krakowskie Przedmieście. It was here that daughter Isabella was born in August 1811. The couple opened a boarding house for male students. Mikołaj ran the educational program, and Justyna ran the house. The Chopin boarding house soon had a very good reputation. The family then moved into apartments in the grounds of the Saxon Palace, and this is where their final child, Emilia, was born in November 1812. The Chopin family almost certainly went for walks in the beautiful Saxon gardens. Mikołaj played the flute and the violin, and he and Justyna encouraged their children to play music. Ludwika took piano lessons from a music teacher named Wojciech Żywny, and little Frederick listened and tried to imitate these lessons with help from his older sister. In 1816, the 6-year-old Frederick began taking regular lessons with Mr. Givny. Though his pupils thought he was a bit comical and old-fashioned, Givny quickly realized that Chopin was an extremely talented pianist and improviser. He introduced Frederick to the music of Bach and Mozart, composers Chopin would admire for the rest of his life. In 1817, the family moved to an apartment in an annex of the Casimir Palace. Within a year, Frederick began composing and performing both in public and also in private within the drawing rooms of the Polish nobility and aristocracy. One spectator, Alexandra Tanska-Hoffmanova, wrote in her diary, "Performing on the piano was the young Chopin, a child of 8 years who promises, so the experts claim, to replace Mozart." By the time he was 12 in 1822, Chopin had outgrown his teacher Givny. The task now was to develop his talent as a composer. The composer Josef Elsner started giving Chopin private lessons. In 1823, Chopin began schooling at the Lyceum. Highly talented and intelligent, he was a model pupil, mainly interested in literature and history. Chopin also had a gift for drawing, and on one occasion was caught red-handed drawing a caricature of his teacher, Professor Lind. Chopin thought he was going to get into trouble, but Lind only said that it was a nice drawing. Visits to Greater Poland, Pomerania, and Silesia left a lasting impression on the young Chopin. He spent 2 summer holidays at his school friend's estate in Szafania. He wrote to his family about his adventures in a series of amusing letters in the style of a well-known daily Warsaw newspaper. It was on these and other trips to places like Duszniki, Toruń, and Płock that Chopin encountered local Polish traditions, ceremonies, and most importantly, Polish music. Echoes of these melodies, especially from mazurkas, appeared in many of his compositions throughout his life. On completing his schooling at the Lyceum in 1826, Chopin entered the High School of Music in